like to introduce to you who I knew for a long time by her maiden name. And I told her yesterday that I've been worried this week as I'm preparing for this weekend that I was going to introduce her in her maiden name because I'm not used to her being married now. But I'd like to introduce to you Shana Fraser for our testimony today.
Good morning. Up until 2014, my life was consumed by sin and unforgiveness. Growing up was very hard because my dad was an alcoholic. I had many hurts and wounds from my dad that I had carried into my adult life. Those hurts and wounds kept me in bondage and kept me from living the life God wanted me to live. Sin and unforgiveness left me with a broken heart and caused me not to seek many relationships with others. I had few friends, family was distant, and I wore a mask that said I was okay on the outside, but on the inside I was a mess, and I chose to remain a victim throughout. All of that changed when I went on my Emmaus Walk in April of 2014. Going on this walk was very challenging for me to be spending a weekend with other women I did not know and staying for 3 days with no escape route of any kind for me to leave. I knew God was tugging at my heart to see what this Emmaus Walk was about, as many of my friends had gone before. God met me in a very powerful way. The first night I was there, I prayed to God that he would open my heart and that he would heal my heart. I gave my heart to him. Little did I know what I prayed would change the course of my life. It is hard for me to put into words what happened those 3 days, but I just remember praying to God to help me to forgive my dad and to free me from my sin as well and the bondage that I had been in for 20 years of my life. I found myself fully engaged with God, believing that he was true to taking off my stuff and bondage away. I believe that he did really forgive me for my sin and was able to forgive my dad as well. Life up to this point was choosing a not so pure lifestyle as I engaged in behaviors that created patterns of unhealthiness throughout. It all wrapped me in chains that kept me feeling ashamed, alone, and isolated. I felt that weekend that I was actually engaging with God, and it was so real that I could see myself laying all of it down at Jesus' feet. I felt that God healed my heart, and I felt the weight of unforgiveness and sin come off my shoulders like I had never felt before. Because of letting God heal my heart, I was finally able to get out of my weathered boat and to follow Jesus and trust in him. Jesus wants all of us to get out of our boats and to follow and trust him in the journey he has for all of us. After getting out of my boat and following Jesus, I was able to move forward and to experience what I had dreamed of as a little girl, becoming a beautiful bride. Because of the healing God had done in me, I was able to allow my dad walk me down the aisle and to enjoy sharing in the father-daughter dance that I thought would never happen. And I never would have got to experience this if I did not get out of my boat and trust and follow what Jesus had for me. Today, my journey is one of freedom. Old habits are gone. New and fresh understanding of who I am in Christ continues to grow daily. I am now loved by my husband and brave enough to take off my mask to share my story. Words like hopelessness are now gone and hopeful exist. I finish with my life verse, which means a lot to me now. Jeremiah 29:11 says, I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, and plans to give you hope and a future. Thank you.